and you're right face to face with something that you've been battling for so long. It's so hard to think of all of the tips and the tricks and the things that you've learned and, the acupressure points and all. I'm not thinking about none of that. I'm spiraling right now and I want y'all to leave me alone. You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
The footage was never meant to surface, at least. That's what insiders are claiming. But now, a grainy, emotionally raw clip is making its way across every corner of the internet. And fans are shocked by what they're hearing. Jackie's own daughter, voice trembling and eyes swollen, is seen whispering through clenched teeth, "Just leave me alone." The words weren't screamed, they were broken, whispered, desperate. And in that one moment, every camera cut, every production light, every social media filter fell away, leaving only the heartbreaking plea of a daughter who'd had enough. Rumors are already exploding. What pushed Chantal to this point? Another behind-the-scenes clash with Jackie. Or something deeper, years of bottled-up resentment finally spilling over. Emotions ran high as the video gained traction. Insiders say this unseen confession wasn't part of any planned scene, and that it was recorded during a private moment where Chantal thought the cameras were off. While Jackie has yet to speak publicly about the viral moment, sources close to the family claim the fallout has been massive. Other family members are allegedly choosing sides. And some fans say this might be the final fracture between mother and daughter. What happened that day? What led to that whispered breakdown? And is this the beginning of a permanent rift that number apology can fix? Stay tuned, because the story behind that heartbreaking whisper is more complicated than anyone imagined. The video begins in near silence. Just the faint hum of a ceiling fan spinning above a dimly lit room. The camera, likely forgotten or assumed off, picks up a single voice. It's Chantal's, soft, tired, and shaking. "Leave me alone," she says, her words barely louder than a breath. But it was enough to stop the internet cold. Enough to spark a wildfire of speculation, heartbreak, and outrage. Fans are shocked, not just by the words themselves, but by the sound of them. This wasn't performance. This wasn't reality TV. This was raw pain that slipped through the cracks, caught only because someone forgot to hit stop. And the most disturbing part? Jackie is in the frame, standing, watching. Her face unreadable, almost frozen, as her daughter pleads for space that never seems to exist in their world. The clip doesn't last long, 26 seconds to be exact, but those seconds were enough to fracture the illusion of a tight, glamorous mother-daughter bond. Behind the glitz, behind the brand deals and red carpet appearances, something had broken. And now the world was watching the pieces fall. It didn't take long before fan accounts began reposting the clip. "Unseen confession," one caption. "Read Chantal reaches her breaking point," said another. Within hours, #LeaveMeAlone was trending. Emotions ran high in the comments, with some fans calling out Jackie for suffocating control, while others questioned what might have pushed Chantal to that edge. Speculation mounted. Had there been a fight off camera? Was it a buildup of years of emotional tension? Or had Jackie once again crossed a line her daughter had drawn in silence? What insiders are now revealing paints a story far messier than anyone expected. According to one source close to the family, this wasn't an isolated moment. She's been telling people for months that she feels watched all the time, the source shared, not just by cameras, but by her mom. Every move Chantal makes, Jackie has an opinion. And if it doesn't align with Jackie's vision, she'll make sure Chantal feels it. Just a few days before the clip leaked, the family had been filming a new segment at a private residence. The scene was supposed to show Jackie and Chantal enjoying a quiet evening, talking about future projects, possibly teasing a mother-daughter podcast. What the audience didn't see was the argument that erupted just minutes before the cameras rolled. Chantal, according to multiple witnesses, had wanted to drop the project entirely. "I don't want to be on mic talking about our fake piece when we haven't even had a real conversation," she reportedly told producers. Jackie, already in full glam and sitting under studio lights, wasn't having it. You're making this harder than it needs to be, she snapped. We're doing this for us. Chantal's reply was quiet but final. No, you're doing this for you. The set went still. Producers whispered. Assistants hovered, but no one stepped in. No one told Jackie to back off. And Chantal, once again, was left alone to manage her emotions under pressure. That night, she didn't return to the hotel with the crew. She went silent. The video that later surfaced was taken the following afternoon. Chantal had locked herself in one of the side rooms at the estate. Someone, possibly a producer, left a camera on a tripod in the corner after an earlier shoot. It kept rolling. Jackie entered unannounced, hoping for a private talk. Chantal was seated on a small love seat, arms crossed, hair tied back in a loose bun, face bare. There was no performance in her eyes, no filter on her exhaustion. Why do you always have to make everything so dramatic? Jackie asked off-camera.chantel. Didn't answer right away. Then she exhaled, long and slow. 'Cause I'm tired, she said. Because it's never about me. Always about the image. That's when it happened. The silence, the tension, the plea. Just leave me alone. For words that felt like a scream, even whispered. For words that unraveled years of photo ops, staged apologies, and holiday specials. For words that showed how deep the fracture really ran. The world outside responded quickly. Some fans wept. In the comments, others grew furious. Longtime supporters of Jackie began to question their loyalty. How can you call yourself a loving mother and still ignore a cry like that? One tweet read. Another wrote, "It's not what Jackie said, it's what she didn't say." Because in that entire 26 seconds, Jackie never responded. Not one word, just silence. Just the image of her watching her daughter break and choosing not to move. Sources within the family say, this moment was the final straw for Chantal. She packed a bag that night, said one insider. And she didn't tell anyone where she was going. Not even her aunt. Not even her best friend. She just disappeared. The fallout was immediate. Jackie reportedly canceled all press appearances. The next morning, her team released a vague statement, calling it a private family matter and urging fans to respect their space. But by then, it was too late. The damage was done. And what hurt the most, insiders say, is that Chantal never intended for that moment to go public. It wasn't a stunt. It wasn't for clout. It was the one moment she thought she was finally off camera. Friends close to Chantal say she had been struggling for a long time. She'd cry at night, saying she didn't know where the real Chantal ended and the brand version began. One friend shared, she felt like she was performing even when she was alone. Another added, she's never had space to make mistakes. Not without cameras catching it, not without her mom spinning it into a lesson or a caption. Sometimes she just wanted to be quiet. But quiet didn't exist in Jackie's world. Not for long. What happens next is unclear. There's talk that Chantal may be staying with an old friend on the West Coast, far from the spotlight. Others believe she's completely off the grid, ditching her phone, staying off social media, trying to figure out who she is without a camera in her face. Either way, one thing is certain this time. Chantal isn't looking to be found. And fans for the first time are starting to understand why. The days following Chantal's disappearance were eerily quiet. For a woman who had grown up under constant attention, her complete withdrawal sent a shockwave through the entertainment world. Jackie remained uncharacteristically silent, refusing interviews and canceling her weekly live streams. Her team scrambled behind the scenes, but the truth was simple. Jackie didn't know where her daughter was. And more importantly, she didn't know if Chantal even wanted to be found. The house felt different, empty. The energy that Chantal carried vain in silence, even in anger, had vanished. Jackie walked from room to room some nights, staring at half-full water bottles, scattered notebooks, makeup brushes still sitting on the counter. She would pause in front of the guest room door, hand hovering over the knob, but never turn it. It wasn't locked. It just felt off limits now. What no one expected was that Jackie would finally break her silence, not in a formal statement, but through a quiet, tear-filled voicemail she left on Chantal's phone. "I don't know where you are," her voice cracked, "but I'm not calling to bring you back. I just want you to know I heard you, I hear you now, and I'm sorry." The message wasn't released to the public. It was leaked, reportedly by someone on Jackie's team, and fans are shocked by how vulnerable she sounded. No glam, no control. Just a mother's voice trembling with regret. But for many, the apology came too late. Online, the conversation had shifted. People weren't just debating Chantal's breakdown, they were analyzing years of footage, old interviews, even red carpet clips. Fans started pointing out moments they'd missed, the tightness in Chantal's smile, the hesitations in her voice, the brief glances to her mother before answering questions. "We should have seen this coming," one fan wrote. "She's been trying to tell us for years, and maybe she had back in 2022 during a now resurfaced panel event." Chantal was asked what it was like being raised in the spotlight. She laughed, but not with joy. "It's like having 1,000 mirrors pointed at you," she said. "And none of them show your actual face." The crowd laughed. Q chuckled. But now, watching the clip again, fans noticed how her eyes didn't. "She was telling us," one user commented. "We just weren't listening." As the internet re-examined every public moment, another video emerged, this one from behind the scenes of a family photo shoot. Chantal is seen adjusting her dress, clearly frustrated, while Jackie stands off camera giving directions. "Tilt your chin more," Jackie says. "Don't squint. Soften your mouth." Chantal turns, lips tight. "I'm not a mannequin," she snaps. The clip cuts off there, but the tone is unmistakable. It wasn't a joke. It was a boundary, one that had clearly been crossed too many times. In the meantime, those close to Chantal remained tight-lipped. Tiffany, her longtime best friend, deactivated all social accounts. Flavia, her aunt, issued a brief statement urging people to stop speculating. "Chantal deserves peace," it read. "Not pressure. She's finding her own way." Letter. But the noise only grew louder. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted to assign blame. And yet, the only voice missing from the chaos was Chantal's. One rumor began to circulate that she had checked into a wellness retreat in Sedona, one of those no phone, no press, spiritual kind of places. Another claimed she was with an ex, someone she once trusted before fame took over her life. None of these were confirmed, but the theories kept pouring in. Even Jackie's closest advisors couldn't confirm where Chantal had gone. For Jackie, it was the first time in her career where silence wasn't a strategy, it was punishment. She'd always known how to spin pain into content, how to turn a family conflict into a teachable moment. But this was different. Chantal wasn't cooperating. This wasn't coming back for the reunion special. This wasn't sending cryptic tweets or releasing her side of the story. She was gone. And with every day that passed, Jackie felt the reality settle deeper. Not every storm could be managed. Not every daughter could be edited into perfection. The breakdown had been a long time coming. But the aftermath, that thick, hollow ache in the space where Chantal used to be, that was something Jackie hadn't prepared for. She watched old videos late into the night, the kind nobody had seen. One in particular showed Chantal as a teenager, barely 13, curled up in a hoodie on the family couch. Jackie is recording, narrating playfully. "Say hi to your fans," she teases. Chantal looks up, half smiling. "Can we just chill without the camera for once?" she asks. Jackie laughs it off. "You'll thank me later." But watching it now, Jackie didn't laugh. Her hand trembled. The screen blurred as tears filled her eyes. "I never let her be," she whispered. "I never just let her be." Meanwhile, Producers of their reality show announced an indefinite pause on the season. Fans who were hoping for a dramatic reunion or a redemption arc were left stunned. "We're respecting the family's privacy," the statement read. But those inside the industry whispered that Truth Chantelle had cut off communication entirely. No phone calls, no emails, nothing. And without her, there was no story to tell. The most talked about moment came from a podcast episode featuring a family therapist who had worked with public figures. She didn't name names, but fans connected the dots. When a parent builds a brand that depends on their child's participation, she said they blur the line between guidance and control. Eventually, that child grows up and realizes they've been performing a version of themselves for everyone except themselves. This quote went viral. It echoed across Twitter, TikTok, even mainstream news. Fans began creating edits of Chantelle montages of her laughing in early seasons, clips of her awkward red carpet interviews, her final whisper of "just leave me alone" layered over soft piano music. It was haunting, it was beautiful, it was painful. And Jackie watched them all. She didn't speak, she didn't correct the record, she didn't try to reclaim the narrative. Because deep down, she knew. This time, the story didn't belong to her. Jackie's single quotes as voicemail haunted her nights. Every time her phone buzzed, she half expected Chantelle's name to flash across the screen. But it never did. Instead, she was left with silence and echo of her own regret. That morning, after sending the brief letter, Chantelle had vanished again. No replies, no indications of where she was. Jackie wandered the house, eyes drawn to her daughter's belongings. A half-drunk water bottle on the dresser, a pair of worn sneakers by the door, a notebook filled with lyrics and doodles. She picked up the notebook one evening, running her fingers over Chantelle's handwriting. Some pages listed song titles. Others were full of crossed-out lines. The last entry read, "I'm reclaiming my voice one lyric at a time." Jackie closed the book gently, tears welling in her eyes. Outside the estate was quiet. The crew had dispersed, equipment returned to warehouses, red carpets rolled up and stored. Paparazzi still circled, hoping to catch a glimpse of Jackie in distress, but they found only a lonely mansion with darkened windows. Inside, Jackie paced from room to room as though searching for a version of her daughter she couldn't find. She sat in Chantelle's childhood bedroom one afternoon. The walls still adorned with Polaroids and posters from early shoots. It smelled faintly of lavender from the sachets Chantelle used to tuck in her drawers. Jackie sank onto the bed, burying her face in her hands. She had built an empire around her daughter's image, yet she had forgotten to see her as a person. Meanwhile, Chantelle was gaining strength in anonymity. In a small apartment halfway across the country, began collaborating with local musicians, visiting open mic nights and sharing her songs in shadowy cafes. She found that when she stood before an audience with only a guitar and a microphone, the applause felt different. It wasn't scripted. It wasn't motivated by sponsorship deals or brand endorsements. It was genuine. She sang a song one night called "No More Mirrors," its chorus echoing through the smoky room. "I'm tired of reflections that aren't mine, trying to break free from a manufactured shine." Afterward, a few strangers approached her with quiet praise, asking for lyrics and sharing their own stories. Chantelle realized she wasn't alone in feeling suffocated by expectation. Back at the estate, Jackie struggled to fill her days. Without a show to promote, without a narrative to manage, she felt untethered. She tried volunteering at a local charity, serving meals at a shelter, hoping to feel useful. But every time she saw a young woman hesitate in line, or a child shyly clutching a packet of cookies, she thought of Chantelle. She realized that no amount of charity could replace the trust she had broken. One afternoon, Jackie received an unexpected parcel, a painting from Chantelle. It arrived with no note, only a canvas wrapped in brown paper. Inside was a portrait of two figures standing back to back, their faces blurred but their bodies tense. Above them, a stormy sky painted in swirling reds and purples. Below them, roots tangled around their feet. At the bottom, in small script, Chantal had written, "We grew from the same soil, but our storms parted us." Jackie stared at the painting for a long time, the colors pulsing in dim light. She knew the message was clear, Chantal acknowledged. Their shared history, but also the pain that had driven them apart. The leak of that painting stirred a small uproar online. Fan theories speculated that Chantal was preparing to return to the public eye, using art rather than tears to communicate. Some praised her bravery. Others dismissed it as another publicity stunt. Jackie didn't comment. She sat with the painting in her living room, turning it this way and that, feeling the ache of separation in every brushstroke. That weekend, a mutual friend, one of the few people Chantal still trusted, reached out to Jackie and offered to broker our meeting. "I can't promise anything," the friend cautioned, "but Chantal asked me to let you know she's in town. She's performing at a small venue Friday night. If you want, you could be there, just sit in the back." Jackie's heart pounded. She had imagined this moment 1,000 times, running into the audience, rushing backstage, enveloping Chantal in an apology. But what if she scared her daughter off again? What if her presence felt like a trap? Nevertheless, she texted the friend, "I'll go." Friday arrived with a pink-tinged dusk settling over the city. Jackie sat alone at a small bistro table across the street from the venue, her hands wrapped around a warm tea. She watched as patrons filtered into the cafe next door. Likely friends or curious fans drawn by word of Chantal's secret performances. She spotted Chantal through the window, a familiar silhouette, but stripped of polish. Wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, hair loose around her shoulders. Chantal carried her guitar casually, nodding at the sound technician before stepping onto the small stage. The room fell hushed, lit by a single spotlight. Chantal took a breath and began. The song was new, its verses weaving a story of longing, identity, and liberation. Each chord resonated in the packed room. Jackie closed her eyes, feeling the lyrics not just as a mother, but as a woman who had lost her daughter to her own ambition. Chantal's voice was stronger than ever, carrying vulnerability and defiance in equal measure. Tears slipped down Jackie's cheeks, but she didn't wipe them. She watched, hoping Chantal would look her way, hoping for a moment of recognition. After the song ended, the audience erupted in applause. Chantal nodded, then sang a second song, a tender ballad about forgiveness. The refrain echoing, "I'm learning to breathe in freedom's embrace, without your shadow haunting this space." Jackie felt her chest tighten. She put down her tea and stood, crossing the street to the cafe entrance, but before she could step inside, the friend intervened. "Sit tight," he whispered, guiding her around a side door. She asked for, "You backstage?" Inside, the green room was dim, lined with couches and empty coffee cups. A few musicians lingered, chatting quietly. Chantal sat alone on one of the couches, guitar in hand, her shoulders slumped. She looked up as the door opened. Jackie stepped in, heart hammering. Chantal's eyes widened. For a moment, they just looked at each other. No tears, no words, just the silent acknowledgement that they had come to this crossroads. Jackie swallowed, voice trembling. "Thank you for letting me come." Chantal studied her mother's face, its lines softened by remorse and hope. "I wasn't sure you would," she replied. Tone was flat, guarded. But the fact that she spoke was progress. Jackie took a small step closer. "I'm sorry," she said quietly, "for everything. For not listening or making you feel alone." Chantal's fingers tightened on the guitar neck. "You heard me," she said. "That voicemail, you actually heard me." Jackie nodded. "It broke me," she admitted. "And I'm trying to put the pieces back together, but I need you." Chantal's gaze flicked down, then back up. "I'm not sure I can be what you want me to be." Jackie shook her head. "Don't want you to be anything. Not a brand, not a star, just you." A long silence followed. Then Chantal set down her guitar and stood. She crossed the room, closing the distance between them. "One step," she said. "Can promise." Jackie's eyes filled with gratitude. "One step," she echoed. They embraced, gently, as if testing the strength of their renewed bond. Backstage chatter paused as friends and musicians looked on. In that quiet room, away from the glare of cameras and flashing lights, mother and daughter took their first real step toward healing. Outside, fans waited, unaware of the moment unfolding behind closed doors. Theories would continue, rumors would swirl, but in that small green room, the only truth that mattered was being written for words whispered between two women, one step at a time. Chantel and Jackie left the green room arm in arm, stepping into the night air with cautious hope. Chantal's heart raced as she led her mother toward a quiet corner of the venue's courtyard. The air smelled of autumn leaves and the faint tang of late-night coffee from nearby bistro tables. For a moment, neither spoke, both simply breathing in a world beyond glare of stage lights and rolling cameras. "I can't believe you stayed," Chantal said finally, voice soft like the rustle of leaves. She glanced at Jackie, whose expression was tender and wary. "I promised one step," Jackie replied, "and I wouldn't break that." They found a bench beneath a string of bare bulbs. Chantal perched on one end while Jackie sat beside her, careful to leave space both physically and emotionally. The silence stretched comfortably, punctuated only by distant laughter and the hum of parked cars. "Do you ever miss it?" Jackie asked, nodding toward the stage where Chantal's guitar leaned against an amp. "The feeling of performing for thousands." Chantal looked there, remembering the roar of applause and echoing arenas. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but those shows were for an audience I never fully trusted. Now I perform for me, and that feels different." Jackie reached out, brushing a strand of hair from Chantal's face. "I want to be in your audience," she said, "when you're ready." Chantal's eyes flickered with emotion. "It won't be the flashiest show," she warned. "Just me and my songs. Okay? No smoke machines, no extravagance." "That's perfect," Jackie said. "I just want to hear your voice." They sat together, two figures bathed in the soft glow of bulbs, and the gap between them felt smaller, as though each word they shared carried weight of years. Meanwhile, word of Chantal's surprise performance spread quietly online. A handful of fans who managed to sneak into the cafe next door shared photos of Jackie in the crowd, tears on her cheeks as she watched her daughter sing. Those images ignited fresh speculation. Was this the beginning of a true reunion? Would the cameras return, this time to document real healing? But Jackie and Chantal kept moving forward on their own terms. The next morning, they shared breakfast at a local diner, poring over a stack of newly printed lyric sheets. Chantal explained. Her new song, Staleys of Identity, Liberation. Forgiveness, and Jackie listened with genuine curiosity, asking gentle questions about each line. "This verse," Chantal said, pointing to a stanza, "I broke the mirror to see the light beyond your glare. That's about finding myself outside your expectations." Jackie nodded, tears welling. "I understand now," she said, "how overwhelming that glare must have been." She reached across the table, her hand covering Chantal's. "Thank you for teaching me." By noon, they parted. Was Chantal to rehearsals for her upcoming small tours, Jackie to a volunteer event at a women's shelter. Both felt grounded in purpose beyond the showbiz bustle. Over the next weeks, their tentative truce deepened into genuine connection. Chantal invited Jackie to sit in on a writing session in her home studio, walls lined with guitars and scribbled notes. There, Jackie heard new melodies emerge, watched Chantal channel raw emotion into chords that felt like conversation. A song faltered, Chantal paused, asked for input, and Jackie offered honest feedback, careful to support rather than dictate. In turn, Jackie shared moments from her own healing journey, joining a book club for memoirs, discovering meditation, Reconnecting with old friends who had known her before fame, Chantal realized that her mother had grown too, shedding layers of persona like an old skin. The public sensed the shift. A brief post appeared on Chantal's new private Instagram, a photo of mother and daughter's hands intertwined, caption, "Simply one step at a time." It went up without fanfare, no tags, no promotion, just truth. In hours, fans who mattered saw it, and comments flooded in. "This is what real looks like. So proud of you both. Roots of healing." The supportive chorus comforted them both. Proof that empathy could outshine spectacle. Despite progress, old fears lingered. Chantal sometimes woke in the night, heart pounding with fragments of that whispered plea echoing in her mind. Jackie, too, carried guilt like a stone in her pocket, afraid that one misstep could shatter their fragile peace. They faced these moments openly, texting queries at odd hours. "Did I overstep? You okay?" And replies came slowly but sincerely. "I'm here," or "Thank you for asking." Then came the invitation that felt like a milestone. Chantal asked Jackie to join her on stage at a sold-out community center. No cameras allowed, just a tight circle of fans who had stood by her side. When the curtain rose, Chantal introduced her mother to the crowd, voice steady. "This is the woman who taught me to speak, even when I forgot how to listen." Jackie stepped forward, microphone in hand. Her voice trembled as she spoke not two scripted lines, but from the heart. "I'm not a perfect parent," she said, "but I vow to keep learning from my daughter every day." Applause swept through the room like a wave of forgiveness as Chantal began her final song, a duet written with her mother in mind. The melody carried promise of new beginnings. Their voices intertwined, imperfect, yet harmonious, echoing through the hall like shared breaths. In that moment, the family was no longer divided. It was united in authenticity. Outside the center, a line of fans waited for hours to share handwritten notes with them. They spoke of finding solace in Chantal's honesty, of seeing their own struggles reflected in her music. One fan, tears in her eyes, whispered to Jackie, "Your journey gave me hope to speak my truth." Jackie clasped her daughter's hand, feeling warmth ripple through her. "We did this together," she murmured. Chantel nodded, smile bright. "And we'll keep doing it as long as we have breath." The evening closed on a high note, not a finale, but a promise of more chapters yet to be written. And as mother and daughter walked home under a canopy of stars, they carried with them a truth more powerful than any headline: that love, when honest and patient, could outlast the loudest screams. So now that you've seen how Chantal finally found her voice and how Jackie learned to listen, we want to hear from you. Do you think this mother-daughter journey proves that even the deepest wounds can heal with honesty? Share your thoughts below and let us know which moment struck you the most. If you've ever felt trapped by others' expectations, hit that like button to show you're not alone. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the untold stories behind the headlines. Ring the bell to get notified the moment we drop exclusive interviews, never before seen footage, and follow-up updates on Chantal and Jackie's next chapter. Tell us in the comments, would you have reached out the way Jackie did with that voicemail? Or would you have given your own space first, like Chantal did? Vote with an emoji if you demand distance, if you'd push for real talk, or if you'd choose both at the same time. Join our community of truth seekers and storytellers. Your voice matters. Here, we read every comment, and we're planning a live Q&A where we'll dive into your hottest takes and wildest theories about reality, drama versus real life. If this story moved you, share it with a friend who needs to hear that healing is possible. And for more raw, unscripted revelations, check out our playlist of unseen moments and candid confessions. Thanks for watching. Your support fuels our mission to uncover the real stories behind the spotlight. See you in the next video, where the drama never stops, but the truth always finds a way.